everybody, welcome to Round the Twist. It is June 17th, 2015, and this is episode 210. Sorry, I'm a bit of ways back from trying to keep everything in frame for you and give you a little more distance, so I'm not really right up in your face. So I'm trying to sit a ways back from my desk, but unfortunately it kind of puts everything out of arm's reach, so I've deployed the hubby's desk chair over here that is hopefully out of frame, so you can't see the pile of stuff that I have to show you this week. First things first, coffee. I've had one cup. I was rather rudely awakened this morning by hubby yelling out in his sleep because he thought someone was breaking into our house. Gotta love vivid dreams, that's great. So I've been up since 5. It's, what time is it? 11:45. I'm due for my second cup. I'm overdue for my second cup, in fact. And I have no idea what flavor this is. All I know is it's coffee. And that's all that matters. I've got the dogs with me. The babies are taking naps currently. So if you hear panting, Phoebe's down under my chair. Daisy will probably be tearing around in the background. Hi, Munchkin. What you doing? So, that would be a Daisy wee. Yeah, she yawned. So she does a wee noise. Okay, so now that first things first are taken care of, second things second, what I have on my needles. And my Tangerine Designs SSK 2013 project bag, I have hubby's, well, hubby's, there are going to be 4 hubby, his Zombies Are Coming socks. So there's the first one that I had finished last week. Yes, I've actually recorded 2 weeks in a row. I know, it's shocking. I don't have much to show for it though, because, well, we'll talk about why later. But anyway, first sock is done. Oh, bug poop. I'm going to get really close here for a second because all of my tags are up there. Sorry, guys. So these are being knit out of the Neely's Knits ink blot blank in the colorway Zombies Are Coming. Knit Faster Zombies Are Coming, actually. It's a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. And basically she dyes these beautiful pre-knitted sock blanks. And I'm roughly halfway through. To the person who asked last week, when I had said last week I wasn't going to, because the colors kind of match, that dark gray that the first sock started out with at the top will kind of be the end of this one, but I might not even make it there since I didn't get to quite the halfway point for hubby's first sock. But I'd been asked by someone, I forget, I believe it was on the Ravelry board. Wow, okay, more coffee for me. Someone had asked, well, can't you just start from the other end of the blank and knit back that way? Kind of start at the ends and meet in the middle. The answer is no, because this is just like any piece of knitting. You can basically, this is your cast on edge down here, and it's knit up, knit up, knit up, knit up, and then when you rip back, which is what you're doing, you're essentially frogging a piece of knitting to make another piece of knitting. So you're ripping out, slowly going down. You can't, you could, but it would be a pain in the butt. You'd have to unpick each stitch individually from this end and slowly unravel, because it doesn't just go zip the way this does, where you can just take it and go zip and it's unraveling as you go. So it's just like any standard piece of knitting that you're trying to knit with, but yeah, so not possible. Good thought, but not possible with this. Not if I want it to be easy, which that's the whole point of these socks, is that they're easy. It's my 72 stitch vanilla sock pattern with a heel flap. Obviously the second one does not have the heel flap yet. All I've got is the ribbing and, okay, I overestimated. I couldn't remember how much I'd knit down the leg, so I put an inch in my notes. I have maybe half an inch here. So a lovely little 1x1 rib, half an inch of just plain stockinette so far. And I'm knitting it magic loop on, I believe there's some Knitter's Pride carbons, if I remember right, on loan from my mom, because she doesn't use the US ones anymore. Her natural gauge is tighter than mine, so she needs to size up her needles more than I do. So I'm working on it slowly. I forget, I think I cast this on last Friday, maybe last Wednesday night. Sometime last week, after last week's show, I cast on this sock. So those are coming along. They are happening. Yay! Second thing that I have on my needles, this has occupied most of my knitting time, which tells you there won't be a third thing. But in my large Jessalou cupcake box bag is my coffee break time shawl, which is the Yowza Weigh It Shawl 2, second one, by Susan B. Anderson. And you basically got a scrunched up mess of garter stitch. There, spread out the center section a little bit. This is out of Miss Bab's Yowza What a Skein. Where's my tag? There it is. In the colorway Coffee Break, which of course with a name like that, how could I not? So I'm knitting it up on US 9s, a 5.5mm needle. And it's nice to take a break from the itty bitty needles and go to something bigger. Sorry, I thought I heard one of the dogs getting into something. I'm getting paranoid. I'm hitting that toddler mama phase where you hear something and you're immediately, what's that? Who's getting into the trash? Who's opening the cupboards under the bathroom sink? Who's doing what? Why aren't you here? What are you doing? That whole toddlers and dogs. Silence is very, very suspicious. Oh yeah. Their favorite activity now is playing in the dog's water dish and making a puddle in the kitchen. That's always fun. But so I'm back to the shawl, back to the knitting, because yeah, this is my break from babies. So I'm working on it, and like I showed you last week, there's these ribs or spines, I guess, going down the shawl. And last week I was at 33, I believe. Let me look. Yeah, 33 yarn overs up the sides of those ribs. And this week I finished up to 46. The whole beauty of the Weigh It Shawl series is that she gives you a count to start with, like how you cast on this many. Okay, cool. And then you go until, and all you're trusting, you never count your stitches again. All you're trusting is your kitchen scale, which I have here. Oop. This one that I got, hubby got me from Target for Christmas because my last one died. It's a Taylor. I threw away the box. Sorry. I should have saved it so I could tell you about it. But lovely little, it weighs in both ounces and grams, which is nice. What all we knitters need if you're looking for a kitchen scale to weigh your fiber. Perfect there. And you just keep weighing what's left of the ball. So the Yowza comes in 8-ounce put-ups, although Miss Babs is very generous. Mine was about 8.5 ounces. So I am currently at 3.2 ounces left. So since the body of my shawl is going to be slightly larger, if I go all the way down, I'm supposed to keep knitting the pattern until I have 2 ounces left. I might just knit 1 more ounce and do 2.2 ounces and then start working on the border. So it's coming along. This has been what I've been knitting at night down here in the basement when everyone else has been sleeping, and I've been trying to flip the sleep schedule around. More so that than the sock. I don't know why I didn't want to cast on the second sock. I just was like, yeah, I'm done, finished. All done. No. Had to keep going, so. So I've been a little bit obsessive with the second weight shawl. Not quite as bad as I was with the first, but it's still taking up a fair chunk of my time. I haven't touched my County Redemption sweater. Again, it's been about a month. I really need to get back to it. It's just the weather's starting to warm up, and having that huge pile of wool on my lap just is not appealing. And I think it's kind of like with the sock. I'm almost to the point, I think I have maybe like 6 or 8 rows left before I join the shoulders. Like, I'll be done knitting the body and I seam the shoulders together. And it's one of those milestone things that you're like, okay, I don't want to go beyond that. And maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just the crazy one here, but I don't, for some reason my brain is going, oh, but it's such a big thing. It's really not. And I don't know why my brain is going in that direction, but it is. So everyone else who's kept up on the redemption knit along, yay, you are doing wonderful. I'm following along in the chatter thread. I'm sorry I'm not very chatty myself there, but everyone's doing a great, great job. I was just brought an offering to the mommy. Go, Daisy. Actually, I have several offerings to the mommy now that I see it. I have several dog toys around me. That's fun. I'm sure she'll bring that icky, gross tennis ball back. Yes, of course you do. Come here. Come here. Go. So that's it. That's all I've been knitting. I did do a tiny bit of stitching this week. So let's move on to pokey things. My Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Once Upon a Time sampler that I'm stitching up for Tara. Last week I showed you I had finished February. I hadn't started March yet because I had just finished February the night before. But kind of the way my mind is going, because the border is kind of such this gargantuan thing, I've wanted to take it kind of in steps and just enclose bits as I work my way through the month. So I kind of have a reward for slogging my way through the 2-color intricate border around the whole thing. So that's what I'm working on right now. The bit that I noticed had snagged last week, well, here, I'll show you. On this side, see there's, down here. There's the gray and then the dark navy blue. That over on this other side, the navy blue had, for some reason, snagged. Don't know how, don't know when. I couldn't figure out how to pull it to fix it, so I just ripped that bit out, which was fine. It wasn't hooked into anything else. I just was like, meh, I'll get to it when I get to it. So I started, all I had done before was these wavy lines coming down from the Once Upon a Time and the little flower that's right there. So I did whatever this little thing is. I did the castle and all of this coming over the edge. That's all the stitching that I've done this week. it's been a little crazy with everything. I'll get back to it. I've got tonight that I need to stay up to flip the sleep schedule back around. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. So, we're into various and sundry. I'm gonna relax a little bit, grab the coffee. It's just the time to chat. Grab your coffee, grab your knitting, whatever you have, as if you haven't been knitting this whole time anyway. So, first thing, let's talk Estes. The Estes Park Wool Market was this last weekend. I did go up both Saturday and Sunday. Thank you to everyone who stopped the twins and I and said hi. We did have fun. The twins loved all the animals. Every time a dog would go by with someone, it was just pop, 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 pop. The sheep were not very friendly. A little bit on the skittish side, but they got to see alpacas and llamas and get fingers nibbled on by goats, and they had all kinds of fun with that. For me, the fact it was the 25th anniversary of the wool market up at Estes Park, I'll admit I was disappointed. All the years that I've gone, things have changed. I hadn't been in 2 years, so I didn't see it last year. Their new event center where the vendors are is beautiful. Well lit, nice and cool. They have fans, like built-in fans in the ceiling, circulating air, plenty of space, wide aisles, room for the vendors to spread out, room for people to not be running into each other, so it didn't feel packed. What used to be the vendor barn, if anyone's been there, that was where the alpacas and the Angora bunnies were this year. And that was good for them too, because before they'd been in these tents that really didn't have a whole lot of air circulation, so I'm sure it was much, much better for them. Behind the event center was what they were dubbing the pavilion, basically another giant building that didn't have the built-in lights like the event center did, but had the air circulation and everything, and that's where the sheep and the goats were, which again, they'd been in tents before. So much better. I'll come back to the vendors part of it, but just walking around, it didn't feel like there were nearly as many people there this year, which, considering it was such a big anniversary, kind of surprised me. Everything was very spread out, and I know I've recorded and shown you guys video of like the leaping llama, the llama limbo, the llama obstacle course. I sat up in the stands for a little bit of the obstacle course, and I missed the leaping llamas and the llama limbo this year, but they hadn't even started the obstacle course yet, and the grandstand was basically empty. There was maybe a couple dozen people, and that's being generous. I was actually kind of disappointed in that turnout, because before, people just used to pack into the stands, and it was kind of fun to be there in a good atmosphere, and that was a little disappointing for me. The food vendors were rather disappointing for me. Obviously, the fairgrounds have their own concessions now. There's one in the event center, there's one over at the grandstand, and that's where we ended up eating. That was decent food, but there were only 2 other food vendors, where in the past there's been 6 or 8. The Greek food stand I'd eaten at before wasn't there. I think 3 or 4 years ago, there was an RV from one of the local wineries, and they'd kind of set up a little wine garden. So food was disappointing at the fairgrounds itself. Just the turnout to me was a bit of a disappointment. And then you'll notice I'm not showing you anything. I did not buy a single thing at Estes. Nothing. I mean, I must have walked that vendor hall a dozen times, if not more, on Saturday alone. And part of my problem was I couldn't really, because obviously I'm pushing a double wide stroller because I have the twins with me, and if I walked away from them, they started to freak out, so I couldn't really get in to any of the booths to look at stuff. I could kind of stand in the aisle and look and see what all they had, but just even standing in the aisle and looking, there was nothing for me personally. And I realize every person's mileage may vary, but there was nothing for me personally that really drew me in and had me going, ooh, I want to buy that. I really want to buy that. I looked at fleeces at I think it was the Rocky Mountain Colored Sheep Breeders booth, and they always have fairly nice fleeces, and I went in and it's really kind of went meh, nothing really tripped my trigger. I don't know. I realize I do have quite an extensive stash to knit from, and that was always kind of in the back of my head, but I was disappointed. And that's an awful thing to say about such a wonderful event, and they've worked so hard to put it on, but I was very, very disappointed this year, just overall. And it might be because I was driving up the canyon and down every day. I wasn't staying up in Estes, but still, meh. So I'm sorry to give kind of a report on Estes. Honestly, I saw other people having a fabulous time. Other people that came up to me that were showing me their purchases, they were so excited about them, and that's wonderful. That's great. I'm glad other people had a good time. For me, I'll keep going because it's now a local festival, and I think it'll only get better as the twins get older, and I don't necessarily have that behemoth of a stroller with me to get in and out of booths. And the stroller wasn't stopping me, the vendors weren't stopping me. People were very, very nice and very accommodating about, I'd be waiting very patiently, just waiting for a gap to open on the few aisles that were a little crowded or people were wandering. And I wouldn't say anything, I'm just standing there, I'm being very patient, because I know I'm the person that's causing the problem. I won't say the problem, but you know, you go to festivals and people are always going, oh God, strollers. Well, I don't have another option. I can't carry 2 toddlers. But everyone would see me and was like, oh my gosh, let me get out of your way. Let me get out of your way. Do you need to go in somewhere? Everyone was very accommodating that way. The stroller did limit me, but I didn't have another option with the kids. So it's fine. I didn't need more yarn. Did I want more yarn? Yes, it would have been nice. There were a few vendors who were supposed to be there who couldn't be for various reasons. I know KCL Woods that has that I've talked about before, Carol and Ken Ledbetter. Ken does this beautiful drop spindles, thank you, with the interchangeable shafts on them. So it's like having multiple bobbins for your spinning wheel, only it's for a drop spindle. They were supposed to be there. Well, after I got back from Estes, because I was like, where'd they go? I swear they were supposed to be here. I looked on their website, and Carol actually had a hip replacement back about a month ago, but still they decided to withdraw from Estes and from another show that they'd been planning on attending, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll see them next year, I hope. So yeah, that was Estes for me in a nutshell. Bit of a disappointment, but some good things. I'm hopeful for next year, and we'll go from there. So upcoming events. I only have one, and that's going to be SSK in Nashville, July 15th through the 19th. Tons of people that I haven't seen in forever are going to be there. I'm very excited to go since it's been a couple years. And yeah, yay. So that's coming up. If you're going to SSK or even coming in on a day pass or just coming in for the market, please say hi. I'd love to meet people. The Interweave Hurt book sale also is going on right now. So if there's any books you've been wanting to order from Interweave, go over to their website. They've got stuff, the sale going on right now. I forgot to look up and see how long it's going on for, so the sooner you go, the better. Majority of their books, there's really not a lot wrong with them. There might be a little scuff on the cover, or the cover got bent in shipping, and they'll reduce them anywhere from I've seen them anywhere from like 30 to 80% off, depending. But usually very little damage to them. It's not like the book's in 80 pieces and you have to piece it back together. No. Just wanted to let everyone know. Another thing I got an email about recently was from Cooperative Press. Vera Valimaki, that did the Color Affection shawl, of which I have made multiples. She is releasing a book called Color Wheel Knits. It's already out in Finnish, I believe in Finnish, but it's being released in English coming up. Cooperative Press is just now waiting for their shipment of the actual books to show up, but you can pre-order. It's going to be available on Ravelry in the ebook format soon. Obviously, it's not up as of right now. I did check that right before I recorded. So if you can look and see, I don't think it's called Color Wheel Knits. I think it was a link in the email that I got. Since it's already been released in Finnish, it's already available on Ravelry in Finnish. So you can actually look and see the projects that are going to be, ooh, sorry, one of my hairs floating around. Look and see the projects that are going to be the book itself, see what projects are in there, see if it's something that would interest you. Oh, bless you, Daisy. Last thing, and I hate to end on this note. I'm sorry, you guys. A little bit of bad news. And if I tear up, I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to. It's already starting, so that's not a good sign. Lisa Grossman, who was known as the Sock Czarina. She was known for, obviously I'm referring to her in the past tense, she was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of abdominal cancer just a couple months ago, and she posted on her blog about it, said, I realize it's going to be quick, just so you know. She actually didn't go to Maryland Sheep and Wool. She sent her her booth crew down. She did pass away this last week. I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry. I met her a couple of times at the 2 sock summits that I went to, just very briefly. We weren't bosom buddies or anything, but I did meet her. She was a very nice lady. I do have one of her kits from years and years ago. Some of you, if you follow the Yarn Harlots blog, you might remember her doing those crazy socks that had all the teeny little leaves around the top. And then, so she was knitting leaves, and she was all obsessive. That was Sock Czarina's kit, the vintage kit, which this is when she was still partnered with Holiday Yarns. Some of her more recent kits have been Shark Week. Shark Week was the most recent one, which was a shark sock that the shark was actually like eating your foot and going up your leg. But I do have one of her kits, and I knit one of her other kits, the Kittery, from my mom, those red socks that had the fan motif and then the beaded lace cuff. So I think once I finish hubby's socks, I think these are going to be my next socks. I'm not gonna cry. I did get not the, I can't even remember which colorway this was supposed to be. The middle one, the medium colored one. So those are going to be, I believe, my next socks. It's going to be an adventure for me because they are toe up. Should be interesting. We'll see how that goes. But Lisa always did a wonderful job with her patterns, and it was one of those you're going, how? And then you'd go flipping through. Every one of her patterns was a book. But all the techniques you needed were in there. You might end up having to flip back and forth 8 pages every time you need to look up that technique, but everything was there. It was fabulous. Everything I needed to know from those Kittery socks. The mistakes I made on that were just dumb mistakes on my part. She always did a wonderful job. Was definitely a woman who thought outside the box. So, not gonna cry, not gonna cry, not gonna cry. On that note, I'm sorry to end it on a sad note like that, but I'm gonna let you go. I'll see you everyone next week, and until then, happy knitting. Bye.